A good one on tap right here, too. Aiello and the junkyard dog, Dakota Howard. This one, Aiello took by fall in their duel just a few weeks ago, but it was a shootout up until then. Both guys getting to the legs. Aiello coming out on top of most of the scrambles, and then inevitably caught Dakota Howard coming in a little bit too overzealous and was able to whip him over for the pin. Let's see what adjustments he's made to improve his result this time around.
Absolutely. Just going to say, Bonacorsi putting Aiello on this side with a 5-2 decision a bit earlier. And Howard 10-9. Memorable battle with Shaw. A North Carolina Virginia Tech battle that comes to mind from a little bit earlier today.
Yeah,
an early advantage up for grabs between these two.
This is a great exchange here on the edge here. Aiello trying to wrestle that single leg. Howard keeps pulling his arm up, trying to keep that whizzer going. Aiello now wisely bringing that leg in a little bit closer inside, getting it elevated, and then I'll find an easy 2 on the edge here. Howard taking advantage of being close to the edge, gets his 1. And this is where you have to see Howard be smart, be wise on bottom, try to seal off some of his seams, because Aiello is super talented with throwing in that leg. He'll go right to a spiral ride and throw it in. He used his length on top with that claw ride, like you see there. There's a nice little trip, pulling him right into a little turn situation there. Now you see that left leg getting in, doing a good job, putting him in danger. Not wasting any time on top is Aiello.
Chantilly native with the takedown up 2-0. Break atop the ACC logo there, having been tossed out.
And that
so
was
we do have a challenge coming.
That was for that mat return Aiello tried to do, where he had a claw. He kind of slid his leg in behind Howard. That one's been called illegal pretty frequently this year. I do, however, think that Aiello did it legally. He didn't jump and leave his feet, so it was more of a trip.
And we're told that, in fact, it is an illegal cutback that is being challenged here, Ty, so that's what they're going to look at.
I believe Aiello looked a little frustrated after that one, because he was on his way to getting some back points towards the end of it. And here you'll see Aiello has that crab ride. That other foot comes in. Now, if Aiello leaves his feet when he slides that ankle across there, that is the potentially dangerous illegal cutback that has been called prevalently throughout at least the ACC from what I've seen this year, and I'm sure across all the NCAA. So it looked to be a little iffy call. This one is good due to the fact that it protects the athletes and it keeps them from getting injured, but it has been a little bit of a hiccup this year.
Officials checking this. Should mention that 3 of the 6 officials you're seeing in the ACC championships today will also be a part of the NCAA Division I championships in Detroit. Another is an alternate, so congratulations to these gentlemen handling the good work today. Here comes the indication of brick toss back. It will be a point awarded to Howard, so the illegal hold is upheld. You said it, you've seen it often this year, and one more time, a nice use of the challenge by Virginia Tech.
Yeah, very few times this year have I seen that one be challenged and called otherwise. I think it is hard to see in the moment if they do return the other athlete illegally. But upon further review, that one rarely goes the other way from what I've seen.
So again, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but you get the 3 opportunities to toss the brick out there. Have to pick your spots, because that's across all weight classifications. This one pays dividends for the Hokies in what is a Commonwealth clash battle between Howard and Aiello. You think about the 2 personalities here as well as they continue to sort this out. Aiello, they talk about it, his larger-than-life personality, that he's the guy that the Virginia coaching staff said, you know, he's going to bake pancakes for everybody. He's going to bring that energy and set that tone. And you see how it translates to his success on the mat, that larger-than-life personality type.
Yeah, and you can't put a price on how beneficial having good leaders, having good culture guys on your team are. But that's not to undermine his actual wrestling success. I mean, he was a U23 world silver medalist, so he's competed internationally. He has high accolades. He's a guy that year in and year out at 197 was in it to win it. So this year, especially after the ACC tournament, it will be exciting to see what he does with the credentials that he's amassed for himself throughout his career.
ACC champion in 20 at 197 and an NCAA qualifier for the second consecutive season. Then he did it again right here at 197 in 21 and looking to find his way back there once more. Aiello with the advantage here. And you contrast these personalities because you've got Aiello on one side, who we highlight there, and then you said it earlier, the junkyard dog opposite him here. This one of those moments the fan bases can really get in behind when you think about these two individuals and what they've meant to these programs, Ty.
Absolutely. They, it's just the matchup is a little different for both wrestlers. Both have completely different body types, so it always makes for an interesting matchup, and two completely different skill sets too. With Howard being a seasoned vet at high crotches and explosive, powerful leg attacks, Aiello, more of a longer guy, is able to get his hands locked from far away and able to put on fantastic rides on top. So I love matchups like this where there's really vastly different style clashes.
Well, and so much on the line here too, because this one of those classifications when you're only looking at the 3 NCAA qualifiers. So there is work to be done even beyond this just to work your way to Detroit.
Yeah, and this is people like to argue about the Big Ten and how it prepares guys because they wrestle the grueling schedule. They go to the Big Tens, they wrestle a grueling amount of matches there, and that's why they're hardened, seasoned, ready for the NCAA tournament and for what it brings. And I like to think that the 197-pound weight class in the ACC has kind of done the same thing. There's been an interesting dynamic amongst them all with them all having former and new losses to one another, and that's including Trumbull from NC State and of course the finalist Nino Bonacorsi. So it's a weight class that has depth, it's fun, it's dynamic, and every single one of them has a great shot because it is a weight class that's relatively open.
Well, if you're looking for the heavyweight semis, both of those taking place on mat 2, you can certainly work your way back and forth, keep an eye on what's happening throughout this busy day of wrestling, and both of those semis with things running a little bit ahead of schedule on mat 2. We've got a couple of overtime matches on this side of things, those ongoing as we speak, which you can keep an eye on. So you also want to at least keep glancing right here. Aiello and Howard, highly anticipated battle for the right to keep hope alive of heading to Detroit. They work out with 22 seconds remaining in this round.
Aiello's doing a great job at using his claw. Using when Cody Howard does try to explode up, he's able to drop down to the ankles, trying to find something to hook, trying to find an ankle to drive across on, and he's gonna find himself about 2 minutes of riding time and a nice 2, technically 3-1 lead going into the second period.
Worth getting into here. You said it, the battle between the two, a loss by fall when they tangled in the regular campaign. And you know, inside the Commonwealth, and you certainly are in a position to speak to this more so than anyone, inside this arena, inside the Commonwealth, anytime you see those colors going toe-to-toe and head-to-head, it's going to grab your attention.
Yeah, especially with the experience of being a Virginia Tech guy wrestling against UVA, it heightens the intensity just that much. And that's what's nice. You kind of have 2 different rivalries in the ACC. You of course have the NC State one and then good old-fashioned UVA one. And that was a great little exchange there. Aiello using his length a little bit to come on top of that last one.
And really extending that ride time now. As you see it well up over 2, making it in essence a 5-1 advantage for Aiello at the moment. You talk about Virginia Tech, known as the Commonwealth Clash, and pretty good crowd you can hear also, having made the trip over from Blacksburg.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty short 2-hour drive, and it's the ACC championships that I've experienced here in JPJ have been fantastic. It's a great venue for it. I like the venue size. And of course, just the competition. You really can't beat it this year.
Of course, Virginia wrestling usually taking place in Mim Gym, one of the historic venues across the ACC. But Virginia staff talking about it, and in particular, the comment made by Coach Garland that they want to be in this building as often as possible. They have a meet scheduled inside JPJ next year. Obviously, anytime they host the ACC, it comes into this fine facility. But he said being in this first-class facility and having our student-athletes experience all that is John Paul Jones Arena is one of the top priorities on the radar for this program moving forward. They want to hold at least a dual meet or two in this facility every year.
Yeah, you do kind of miss out on the historic field, the other gym, though. I think Thomas Jefferson grew up shooting a lot of hoops in there.
That's one way to put it.
But no, every duel that they do put on here is substantially better just because its environment is just so professional. And here we have Aiello getting another takedown, trying to put Howard in danger here, trying to get his weight back. Howard has to bail and try and scoot the corner just a bit, but Aiello comes out with another 2 points, giving him the 7-2, technically 8-2 with that riding time being locked up. Howard keeping the barrage going of his leg attacks. Unable to get in as deep as he'd like to, though.
Now, you accused me of reaching back in history when I invoked Sully Krause's name a bit earlier. That's a little deeper in history even than we went at that point. So.
I don't even know if basketball was a thing then, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I've probably not invented till well later on, but it did make for a nice moment. You said it 8-2 because of the riding time having already been locked up. And this has been impressive from Aiello because, as we mentioned, of the rivalry, because of the disappointment maybe for both of these wrestlers on the other side of the bracket, and then just what it means to stay alive in the hunt for Detroit. Those heavyweight battles still taking place on mat 2 as we speak. We'll complete our run through the weight classifications here and circle back to the third place match at 125 when this one is done.
And this is
that
right
will
where
be a NCAA qualifying match as well, as that's one of those weight classifications with only 3 qualifiers. So it's getting down to crunch time all the way around, Ty. Let's just kind of put a bow on it and say these matches you're seeing from here through the 7 o'clock hour when the championships start and beyond, they're either handing out hardware or they're punching tickets to Detroit.
Yes, sir. People talk about at the NCAA championship where the best round of wrestling to watch is that semifinal round, because you have the blood round matches going on the outside of it where guys are trying to punch their ticket to All-American. I say this is next best, where guys can punch their tickets to go to NCAAs.
At this 197 weight classification, it is UNC Shaw who was able to overcome Russell of Duke. You talked about the 2 rivalries. We've got Howard and Aiello going to head here, Virginia Tech, and we had Shaw and Russell go head-to-head in the other impact match on the consolation side of the bracket at this weight classification. And they will have something to cheer about. The riding time just tacks it on as Jay Aiello is as advertised for UVA in this one.